paralysed from his fall. He's fled Winterfell with a loyal band of followers heading north.
It's all right. The walls will protect him.
Bran Stark is very much on his own journey to discover the root of this ancient magic that's reappearing in the kingdom throughout the seasons.
And yet, amid the slaughter and loss in Season 3, comes a huge breakthrough in the fight against the White Walkers. Unlikely hero Samwell Tarly stumbles on their weakness.
Stay back!
From the moment we meet Sam, he says, I'm a coward, I'm a craven, I'm the guy who runs away and cries.
Samwell reaches for all he has to hand, an old dragon glass spear he once found in the ground, and it kills the White Walker.
To his astonishment, it works. The spells are shattered and it's melting before him.
So, as Season 3 ends with a splinter of hope, A King's Landing Season 4 begins with an apparent celebration. A royal wedding unites two of the great houses of Westeros, the Tyrells and the Lannisters.
Marjorie and Joffrey's wedding is one of those weddings that we all have to go to where there's no love in the room.
The wedding brings another great family into the game, the Martells, represented by Prince Oberyn. They might not want the Iron Throne yet, but they want to take the Lannisters down.
He's ostensibly in King's Landing because he wants to attend the royal wedding. In actual fact, he's there to get revenge on the Lannisters.
Tell your father I'm here. Tell him the Lannisters are the only ones who can live in this.
Joffrey really uses the wedding as an excuse to be as horrible as he can.
Uncle, you can be my cupbearer.
He sees it as an opportunity to wield his power because he can. And you're dying for something to happen to him.
He's choking! I'm the poor boy!
And so, when an unseen hand poisons the newlywed king,
Idiots, help your king!
Wait!
it's the moment of retribution that the whole of the Seven Kingdoms have been waiting for.
I think everybody who watches Game of Thrones was hoping this day would come.
I wanted to kill him in such a way that the viewers were reminded that here's a 13-year-old boy who's dying.
Though it is actually the Tyrells that have poisoned Joffrey, it is Tyrion who is blamed.
This is really the point where Tyrion's fragile bonds with his family begin to unravel.
Take him! Take him! Take him!
In plot terms, the death of Joffrey is another shaking of the board where the pieces are scattered. And also it's one of those things that elevate the whole series from merely a story into a saga.
And that saga continues when the news from Westeros reaches Meereen, where Daenerys has conquered the city with her growing army.
King Joffrey Baratheon is dead. Murdered at his own wedding.
This would appear to be a really good time for her to finally make her play for the Iron Throne. But actually, she has new responsibilities now, and she has unfinished business where she is, and she's still trying to learn how to rule.
And to compound matters, her dragons have grown so big that Daenerys has started to lose control of them.
Everyone loves a dragon. I think they're getting more impressive every season.
As they get bigger, as her power increases, the harder it is for her to manage. And that's where the story then has to go. All they're going to bring is complexity.
And when one of the dragons kills a child and abandons her, Daenerys is left with no other choice but to chain the other two.
She's just locked up her dragons, so can she unleash them again? And will they forgive her?
Without the mighty force of her dragons, Daenerys is faced with a dilemma as to what to do next.
The challenge to her is, at what point am I or will I be ready to go back to Westeros to claim the throne?
How can I rule 7 kingdoms if I can't control Slaver's Bay?
She's definitely going through a sort of a dark night of the soul, I think, where she's trying to determine, have I got what it takes?
And so in Season 4, Daenerys decides to stay in Meereen and learn first how to rule before she attempts to invade Westeros. And the resulting chaos of Joffrey's death also has a huge effect on the Stark children. Sansa manages to flee King's Landing and make her way to the Eyrie to take refuge with her Aunt Lysa. Her escape is masterminded by arch-schemer Littlefinger, a shadowy figure behind many plots in Game of Thrones.
Littlefinger's playing a very chaotic game, and he thrives on that.
Oh, my sweet wife.
And to gain control of powerful lands, he marries Sansa's aunt. And once she's served her purpose, he disposes of her.
For Littlefinger, it's all about getting power, I think, and using Lysa as a pawn along the way.
Sansa is witness to this crime and has to decide where her allegiances lie.
Sansa's one of these poor characters who's been mistreated all through the series. She's seen a lot of horrible, horrible things happen, and she's never been able to take control, and this is the first time that actually she's got nothing else to lose.
When Sansa lied to protect Littlefinger, I cheered. I thought, thank God, girl.
And he tried to reason with her, promised her she was the only one he had ever loved, but she stepped through those doors.
What you discover is that she's been learning this entire time. She's been listening, she's been watching. She's been taking Littlefinger's lessons to heart.
So, from one Stark protege to another, Sansa's sister Arya is still the Hound's hostage, but they're now on an equal footing.
Who would pass the bloody gate? The bloody Hound, Sandor Clegane. And his traveling companion, Arya Stark.
He's her captor, but he's also her protector. And, you know, she's seen his own pain and his own fear at times, and they've shared some dangerous situations.
The relationship is finally tested after the Hound battles with Brienne, and he is left mortally wounded. Arya is forced to strike out on her own, but not before the Hound's young charge must decide whether he lives or dies.
I'm ready.
Now he's wounded and he's dying, and she's remembering all he said about mercy, and he's asking for mercy, and by mercy he means a quick thrust to kill him, and she doesn't give it to him.
Kill me.
They've changed each other through their experience together.
Kill me!
But sadly, what it means is in this moment she won't put him out of his misery. She won't give him the easy way out. She's going to leave him there to suffer.
Also changing is Arya's brother Bran. Now north of the Wall, he's acquired mystical powers, including the art of mind control, known as warging.
I have to say that the scenes that we filmed with him warging into Hodor, that they were my favourite scenes. I think Bran's powers will continue to develop, and he'll almost be like a force of nature. I think the throne will be irrelevant to him by the time he's finished his sort of growth of his powers.
And so by the end of Season 4, Bran has made it to the end of his quest, where he discovers just what the future holds.
You're going to help me walk again? You'll never walk again. But you will fly.
At the Wall, the Night's Watch suffers a huge wildling attack at Castle Black. But in Season 4, they get a powerful new ally. Stannis Baratheon, who's been away licking his wounds after the Blackwater defeat, joins them with his vast army.
He emerges as a huge contender for the throne at the end of Season 4 when he liberates Castle Black. Stannis realizes that going for King's Landing was not the right course. The Battle of the Blackwater was a huge and crushing defeat at the end of Season 2, and it's taken them basically 2 seasons to sort of rebuild from that.
And his arrival means that Jon Snow could have a new ally in the battle against the White Walkers beyond the Wall.
Grace, if my father had seen the things that I've seen, he'd also tell you to burn the dead before nightfall. All of them.
Seeing him paired with Jon Snow, and that storyline
It's going to have huge ramifications in season 5.
I'm guilty of being a dwarf.
You're not on trial for being a dwarf.
Oh, yes, I am. I've been on trial for that my entire life.
He's put on trial for a murder he doesn't commit. His father deserts him and betrays him.
I demand a trial by combat.
I mean, trial by combat, you can get someone to fight for your honour, so whether you're wrong or not, as long as they win the fight, that's what matters.
He names Oberyn Martell as his champion.
Oberyn was a new character in the season, incredibly charismatic. Everyone rooted for him. You just thought he was going to win.
But when Oberyn is defeated, Tyrion is sentenced to death.
In Westeros, the pursuit of justice is as futile as anything else.
Oh, get on with it, you son of a whore.
Is that any way to speak about her now?
Tyrion is released from jail by his brother Jaime and told to go and board a ship and run away. Instead, he decides to check in on his father, Tywin. Tyrion then kills Shae in a sort of fit of jealousy, and then takes a crossbow and goes to find his father.
Tyrion, put down the crossbow.
It's so tightly wound, this scene, because Tyrion's obviously, he's at the end of his rope. What's brilliant about him, he's so well portrayed, you can see yourself doing this.
Go back to my chambers and speak with some dignity. I can't go back. Susan, are you afraid of a dead horse?
This is someone who spent his whole life trying to win his approbation. As much as he hated him, he really wanted that, you know. Obviously, that's never going to happen now because he put a crossbow bolt in his groin.
You're no son of mine. I am your son. I have always been your son.
What it means is when a big character like that goes, there's going to be a power vacuum and there's going to be hustling and jostling to get into his place.
And so we come to season